AI history documentaries are everywhere on YouTube at the moment. There are many channels right now raking in big views and making lots of money. Believe me, I should know because I run one of these channels. About 6 months ago, I monetized in the history niche and it is one of my biggest earners. And if you don't believe me, let me just show you my numbers straight away. As you can see, this is my lifetime earnings since monetizing in December. And honestly, this was only with a handful of videos. So I'm going to show you my entire process from start to finish. We're going to start from ideation through scripting, image creation, voice creation, and even the editing and the thumbnail creation process. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Just before we do, if you want high quality, in-depth tutorials on AI content creation, head on over to my Skool. Every resource that I showcase in this video will be free over there. Head on over there after this. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first step every time I do the video is ideation. You need to come up with an idea or maybe several ideas and then pick your favorite one. Some people advocate just starting with AI to do this. I personally prefer doing it the manual way because the idea is probably the most important part of the process. It's not something I recommend automating to AI because you'll be guessing rather than making informed decisions. What's worked for me and what continues to work is doing it manually. So what I do is I go to competitors in the niche. For instance, this channel here, Majestic Studios, as you can see, is doing really well. And I just look at their best performing videos. But what I'm really looking for is recent successes. So I'll go here and I'll just be looking for Outliers. The entire history of Oxford seems also very promising, as does this Edinburgh video. Honestly, we're spoiled for choice on this channel. So I'm not going to overthink this. I am liking this one. Now, this is the mistake people make when they come up with ideas for YouTube videos. They see something that works and what they do is they think, well, I'll just do that. You cannot just copy a video verbatim. I suppose you can, like there's nothing stopping you doing it and you can actually get results. But if you just take this exact idea, like the entire history of Rome, you'll be fighting the law of diminishing returns because this video has already been done. So what you can do instead is you can sort of take this idea, this premise, like the entire history of Rome in 44 minutes and think about it and go, okay, so what is that? It's the entire history of an ancient civilization. So what other ancient civilization could we apply this same concept to? Well, one that comes to mind to me straight away is either Egypt or Greece. But we don't have to stop there with our own ideas. This is where AI comes in. So I'm going to take that concept there and just head on over to ChatGPT and say, this is a video that I found whilst researching ideas for a history documentary. Give me 10 variations on similar subject matter. So the entire history of, and then give me 10 different civilizations from a similar era to choose between. And there you go, we've got 10 ideas to choose between. Anyway, we're not going to overcomplicate this. We're going to go with my original idea, which is the entire history of ancient Greece. And you see what I'm doing? I'm finding proven concepts, but putting a spin on them. That is crucial for ideation. And anytime I've had major successes on YouTube, my big hits have come by applying this concept. So what do I do with that? Well, I could stay here in ChatGPT. And I think for simplicity's sake, I will for this video. I'm just going to say, I like this idea, the entire history of ancient Greece. Let's brainstorm it, find an angle, and do an outline. So we're on to scripting now. Scripting with AI is not as simple as it sounds. It's not a case of just saying, okay, here's my idea, and then click and go. You have to do it in stages, and often you have to do an outline first. Because if you try to get AI to just spit out a script in seconds, in one go, it wouldn't get the length right. We have got a clear length in mind, about 45 minutes. There is no way it will be able to write a piece of text that long and it actually be good. So what we are doing first is we're actually going to brainstorm what the video is going to be about, then do an outline. So as you can see, ChatGPT is writing out an outline here. Okay, so the outline looks good. What I'm going to do now is just clarify some scripting practices that I want to see and then talk about a target word limit. The outline looks good. Let's talk about scripting best practices. So we want to create hooks and open loops throughout. It's very important that our intro hook is very engaging and makes a promise to the viewer to entice them to stick around. Now, it's good to establish a word target up front because if you don't have a rough guide when you're going into this, you will either massively undershoot your target or massively overshoot. So the next thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to clarify some scripting practices that I want to adhere to, then set word counts for each section. So it's targeting about 6,000 to 6,500 words for this documentary, which sounds about right to me. And you can see it's allocating the targets for each section. Just all looks good. So I'm pasting across the script outline here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to feed it back to the AI in batches. And you just paste it across and hit go. And again, the reason we do it in batches like this is because if we try to do it all in one sitting, it would just be too much. And yeah, just repeat this process for each stage of script. Okay, our script is done. We've got this plain text here. See, we've got this big long script. So what we do with that is we go on over to ElevenLabs here, and we need to go to ElevenLabs Studio, and we need to make a brand new audio project. So I have my voiceover guy ready to go. I'm just going to paste the entire script here in the studio project, and you can see ElevenLabs estimates that it'll come out about 50 minutes, which is very close to the target that we was aiming for, that 45-minute mark. Here we go. We'll just have a quick preview of it and just make sure it's all sounding good.
Marble temples gleaming beneath the Mediterranean sun. Spartan warriors standing shoulder to shoulder against impossible odds.
Okay, and that's sounding fine. So now what we need to do is we need to export that audio. Now, because this is a lot of audio, it's going to take time. So I'll see you when it's done. Okay, so the audio is done, it's downloaded, it's here in Audacity. Now, the reason I put it in here before anything else is because there is one thing we need to do before this is actually ready to move forward into the next stage of production. It's a neat little trick where we just want to remove these long pauses. You see these? They will hurt your attention if you leave them in. So the way we do that, this is a free piece of software, by the way. It's called Audacity. You use one of these special tools here called Truncate Silence. These are the settings that I use all the time, and you can feel free to pause the video and just take note of them. And then we just hit go, and you'll see this video get shorter. That's all those pauses removed. So then we export this, and it is ready to move into the next stage. And the next stage is storyboarding. Okay, so I've got my audio here. It's in CapCut, which is going to be my editing tool of choice as well. We're not editing yet, obviously. We've got a long way to go before we get there. What I'm here for is I just want to grab the captions for the video early on for storyboarding purposes. So to do that, I just go up here to captions and hit generate. So whilst we're waiting for that, we're going to go over to Claude. I've got my storyboarding project space up in here. I've got my guidelines for storyboarding. I will share what my guidelines are, so if you want to take them and apply them to your own project, you can. I will leave them in the classroom tab of my school. So just in the meantime though, what I'm going to do is we're going to take this, paste it across, and I'm going to explain to Claude that we're going to be starting storyboarding. I'm going to wait until the SRT file from the captions is available too, because we need that information to actually do this properly. Okay, we've got our SRT here, our subtitle file I should say. I'm just going to export that now. Then I'm going to add that to the chat here in my storyboarding space. I am instructing Claude here to begin the storyboarding process. As I say, it's all baked in, so I don't have to give it a big prompt. I can just say, let's begin with phase one and hit go, and it does its thing. Okay, so when you've done this first stage of storyboarding, what you end up with is something that looks just like this. So what this is our script, but with chapters, with time codes for how long that chapter is. And alongside that, we have a shot count target for that particular section. And up here, we have the total runtime and the total shot count target, which for this one is 610. That sounds like quite a lot, and it is, but we will get into image generation shortly. I'll show you some tricks that I use all the time to make this much less painful than it has to be. This is why I get the subtitles early on in the process, because when you give that to AI, it bakes it all in to the storyboard, so you know section by section how many shots you're aiming for. So the next step would be to go underneath each paragraph, or roughly each paragraph, and just put something like shot 1 3x3. I'll explain what this 3x3 bit means soon, but if you've watched some of my videos before, you'll already know. And just keep going and keeping this in chronological order like this. Okay, when that's done, you end up with something like this, where every paragraph has a shot number beneath it, along with some indication of the type of shot. What I then do is I head over back to Claude and I start filling these out properly. So I'll just give it Act 1 and Act 2 here. So what I'm asking this to do, essentially, is to take these shots here and actually expand on them and explain what to portray. And it's not actually turning into image prompts yet. that's done in a different dedicated space. So what we get when it's done the first batch, and by the way, it's good to do this in batches because if you try to do it all at once, it will inevitably drift and make mistakes. But what you get is this. So this is those basic shots expanded upon into suggestions for what will eventually be our image prompts. The next step would be to do this for every part of our script until we've got an entire document where it's just this. And when we've done that, it's time to create our image prompts. So I have a dedicated project space for image prompting as well that's entirely separate to the storyboarding project space. And basically, yeah, a same principle applies. I feed it batches of the script, describe what I want visually for like the overall aesthetic, and it knows my prompting practices because it's all baked into the guidelines. So you can literally send across those basic prompts that I just showed you, and it will give you this, which is a full image prompt optimized for Nano Banana Pro. Though I would say that this would probably work just fine with GPT 2.0 as well. And then when you get these prompts, it's really easy. The next stage is to just copy these across, go on over here to your image generator, which in my case is Highlawer 2.0. Which in my case is here on Highlawer. I set Nano Banana Pro as my image generator. I do 4K image, 16:9 dimensions, and literally just copy across my prompts one at a time and hit go. Now, one thing I do want you to note on these prompts, can you see that 3x3 thing has come back? The 3x3 grid? That is why I always use that number in the very early phase of storyboarding, because all my prompts are based on a specific technique that I learned with Nano, where you can do basically 9 images in one 4K image, and that is what I'm doing right now. So even though I'm creating for this first batch 12 images, it's not 12 images, it's actually 9 images in each. So it's actually going to be 108. Is that right? Yes, it is. Yeah, I just had to do the math. And the first results already come out. You can see it right there. You see how that's one image, but there's 9 frames. I love this technique. There are some minor drawbacks to it, but the trade-off in terms of how it scales your output and increases speed, and of course saves credits, is well worth it. This part is tedious, it's repetitive, but it has to be done, and this is how you do it. Okay, I'm going to wait for all these images to generate. I'm going to keep going. This is going to take some time. This stage and the next, which is animations, are probably the most time-consuming part of the entire process. So when all your images are done, you can download them and split them down to their individual frames. I'm not going to get into how I do that in this video, but I will leave a link to the app that I use to do it, that I made on my Skool. What we need to then do is make our animation prompts. I use Highlawer 2.3 for most of my animations. I'll often use Kling as well if I want sound. And then we add our images in one at a time and just do some dead simple image prompts for them. My philosophy with image animation is that less is more. You want to keep it simple, describe what you describe the subject and what kind of action you want to see, and then add some camera movement. And there is this thing here on this particular website where you have prompt enhancement, and I often keep that on because it takes this and makes it a better prompt. And it's really just rinse, wash, repeat for this part of the process. You just drag in your images across, drag in your prompt across, copy paste and go. Again, this is very repetitive. It's actually more repetitive than image creation, and it takes a lot longer because you've got a lot more frames to work with. As you saw with our storyboard, we have about 610 images. This is just the first batch here, this one folder. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. This is the most time-consuming part of the entire process. So let's just keep going, and I'm going to check in with you when this is all done. Okay, so our animations are done. There you can see them. That one's a bit weird, but it gets better as it goes on. Next step is to download them and have them in a folder. And then I generally like to keep things very organized and just put them in the correct order. So what I'm doing right now is precisely that. I'm just numbering them until they're all done. And now we're moving on to the next stage, which is video assembly. What we can do is just make a folder here in CapCut, and we'll drag our clips. And honestly, video editing is a very tedious task, in my opinion. I do not enjoy it. Basically, you drop in your clips one at a time, and just cut where you feel is appropriate and just keep adding your clips in. And this is the process. If you just stitch in the video together, one clip at a time, until you've got your finished video. Okay, so I'll just show you what this looks like so far.
Marble temples gleaming beneath the Mediterranean sun. Spartan warriors standing shoulder to shoulder against impossible odds. Philosophers questioning the very nature of reality.
One more thing we might want to add is music. I use Epidemic Sound for that. Of course, you could create an AI track. I genuinely do prefer human-made music though. It is much better in my opinion, but whatever you can afford, I suppose. I'm just searching for some ancient Greece-inspired music. Okay, so it actually took me a while to find a track that I actually liked. Once you've got one though, you just download it and add it in. And you have to set the volume pretty low so it doesn't compete with the narrator.
Philosophers questioning the very nature of reality. Alexander the Great riding east toward the edge of the known world. Stories of gods, monsters, heroes, and a city called Troy.
And that's basically the entire process. Obviously, there is one more thing we need to talk about, which is actually making a thumbnail. So once you've got your finished video and you've uploaded it, let's talk about how you make your thumbnails. So we're going to return to the channel that we were modeling from earlier. To be upfront about this, we are not stealing here. We are going to be using this as inspiration. You see how he's got this timeline thing going on and this big text at the top saying Rome. We're going to use that overall design as inspiration for our thumbnail. I'm going to open the image up in a new tab, copy it. I'm going to go across to ChatGPT. Now, when we get there, we're going to paste that image into the conversation. Okay, and what I've said is, okay, this is the thumbnail that we want to use as inspiration for a thumbnail of our own. We're doing the entire history of ancient Greece. And then I've suggested what our version of the thumbnail would look like. Again, we want to use this as inspiration. We don't want to copy this identically. We don't want to use the same text. We want to use a slightly different font. But the overall concept is one that we want to mimic. Now, ChatGPT is actually giving me some ideas. I'm just going to pick my favorite from these and then get it to make it. So GPT-2 is the best for doing this kind of stuff. So I've asked it to make version 1 and I've specified we want 16 by 9 dimensions. And there we have it. We've got our thumbnail. One other thing you can do is take the image over to Canva and do some extra processing. For instance, on this, you might just want to up the brightness a bit, just so that it pops more on YouTube. Maybe the contrast too, and the saturation. And these little changes add up. Other than that, that is the entire process. This is how I make my history documentaries. And again, yeah, I'm monetized in this niche. It's a big earner. History is evergreen, and it's a fantastic niche to be monetized in. If you have any more questions on the process, please leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. Yes, please do feel free to come and join me on Skool. It is completely free, and there will be plenty of resources for you there that will help you make your own content. And in the long run, I am going to build a course on how I make all my videos. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.